everybody, I'm Tim with the Weekly Wine Journal, and I have a fabulous episode here today. Look who I have. I have Sandy, and Sandy has brought a special guest for us on the Weekly Wine Journal today. Sandy, take it away.
Hi everybody, I'm Sandy and this is Greg Graziano, owner, winemaker, and grape grower from the Graziano family of wines. As you can see up front here, makes a various assortment of wines from up in Mendocino County, Northern California, and we're going to let him talk a few minutes about what he does up in Mendocino.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be on this blog. Well, you know, one of the great things about the wine business is that we have a lot of tradition and there's a lot of new things that go on, and that's what all this technology is about, all the new stuff that goes on. But yet, in the wine business, most of us were very, very traditional, as I am, being a third-generation winemaker and grape grower. My family goes all the way back to Italy, probably hundreds of years, as far as I know. Been back to Piemonte, Italy, where my family has grown grapes and made wine, and this was kind of a natural for me. My family has about 100 acres of grapes in Mendocino County, which is about 2 hours north of San Francisco. And I also have vineyards myself. And I started this particular winery about 22 years ago with my wife. And it's the Graziano family of wines. And within this family, we have 4 different brands. And basically, the first member of this family was St. Gregory. And I used to be the winemaker for La Crema Winery back in the mid to late 80s, and really got a handle on things like Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. And so I started this brand, St. Gregory, named after my patron saint, not me, because I'm really not a saint. And it's all for Pinots. We do things like Pinotage, Pinot Noirs, we do Pinot Blanc, as we have right here. And the second part of the family was Montevolpe, which is Fox Mountain in Italian. And this brand is exclusively for Italian grape varieties. So we're one of the oldest, largest producers of Italian grape varieties in California. And then we actually started the Inotria brand. We had so many Italian varieties, I decided to break them up. And Inotria is what the Greeks called Italy. It means the land of wine. It's a very, very old traditional name for Italy. And this particular brand represents all the grape varieties that come from Piemonte, Italy, that we grow in Mendocino, where my family's from. So we do things like Dolcetto and Barbera, Nebbiolo, Arnese, Cortese, Moscato, a lot of really wonderful varieties in that region. And then, ironically, the newest member of the family is the Graziano brand. And I started this brand in about 2001. And basically it came because a lot of grape growers couldn't sell their grapes after a large winery there canceled many, many contracts, including some of my family. So I started this brand. And this brand is specifically for the old varieties of grapes that we grow in Mendocino, things we've been doing there a long time, like Chenin Blanc, like Sauvignon Blanc, like Petit Syrah, and Zinfandel, and Carignan, things like that. A mix of old French and Italian varieties that we've been growing there for a long time. So anyway, we have several examples of the wines right here. And this is very new wave again to a lot of California, especially a lot of these new Italian grape varieties that we're planting, but also something like this. Chenin Blanc is really a very old variety that we're kind of bringing back. So we try to save a lot of the old vineyards. There hasn't been any Chenin Blanc grown or really planted in California for 30, 40 years. It all got ripped out and got planted with Chardonnay, unfortunately.
Or pink Zinfandel?
Well, no,
not so much.
It was really Chardonnay is what, and Sauvignon Blanc. It was kind of the doom of Chenin Blanc. But so anyway, we have these great old vineyards, and we decided to recreate this particular French style of Chenin Blanc, dry, really, really nice kind of fruit wine. So we can start off. This is kind of a nice order that we'd like to try the wines in.
All right. Give it a whirl there, Sandy. Let the world know what you...
First up is the Chenin Blanc from Graziano, Mendocino, like we were saying. Crisp, clean.
Yeah, this is one of the things we do. I call it Metodo Graziano, which we ferment all of our white varieties in really clean, neutral French Burgundy barrels that I buy from other wineries after they put their Chardonnay in for a few years. And when I make these particular white varieties, I don't want the oak in the wine. I want the vessel. I want this fermentation that goes on in these beautiful French Burgundy barrels. It's been about 4 or 5 months in these barrels. We don't allow them to go through this malolactic fermentation, which is a secondary fermentation which reduces the acidity but also the fruit in the wines. So these wines, the yeast is stirred in them about every 2 weeks, so they're real yeasty and creamy, but also have this great acidity in the wines. So very, very important. And they're very mineral. I think they're real European in style, not the usual forward, oaky, buttery kind of white wines that a lot of Chardonnays producers produce.
Would you say then a little more old world in the style?
Yeah, it's an old world.
Old
right,
world,
exactly.
Right, yeah.
More old world in the style of the production. And, you know, of course, things like Pinot Blanc, which is one of the parents of Chardonnay, it's really got a marvelous aroma and structure of like a Chardonnay, but without all that buttered popcorn kind of thing that goes on in Chardonnays. And basically, Pinot Noir and Pinot Blanc are the exact same variety, genetically exactly the same. One is a mutation. The white is a mutation of the red, which was Pinot Noir and original. And then we have our Anotria brand here. So we've got 2 great examples of Anotria here. One is Dolcetto, which is a little sweet one in Italian. It's one of the best red wines of Piemonte, Italy. And we actually, I believe, make a better wine than almost anybody in Italy makes out of Dolcetto because, unfortunately, they don't take the variety very seriously in Italy. In Piemonte, they don't age the wines in barrels very long. And our routine is we age our wines for a long time in barrels. So this particular Dolcetto was aged in barrels for 18 months, 24 months, so a long, long time, where a lot of Dolcettos from Italy don't even see any particular barrels. But it brings out all this great California fruit and still has very much of an Italian character, which is extremely important when you're making these Italian grape varieties. And then the next variety is Barbera, which is one of my personal favorites. Barbera is really and was one of the real peasant wines of the Piemonte, Italy, and one of the highest acidic varieties in the world, and one of the lower tannin varieties. So it makes this beautiful, juicy red wine. Again, aged in barrels for a long, long time. Not really to soften the tannins of the wine, but to really soften the acidity of the wine. So, and they both have pure fruit, and they're really, really marvelous examples. These bottles come from Italy, which is all part of the identification of the brand, and they're very, very expensive, unfortunately, because of the way the euro is compared to the dollar. And they're very hard to get, so it's kind of a hassle dealing with.
Does the wine come in the bottles, or you
No,
bottle it here,
the
right?
bottles are just made there.
Yeah, okay.
They're made in Italy. And I can't, these particular bottles here, I can't really get made in America at this point. I have to buy very large volumes and have the molds made, and it would be very expensive. So
the Anotria, yeah, it looks a little bit like the Newton Chardonnay bottle there.
Yeah, actually, it's a little different though. But yeah, it's
got the big
same
top
company,
on it there. Yeah.
Same company, but that is a little bit different.